What if I told you that I can bet my car, my house, and even my favorite Christmas sweater that you can pass the real estate exam? Yeah, that's how confident I am. How can you do it? Through one simple hack, the OREE rule. This simple hack will help you master the one topic that all the real estate exam revolves around: transactions. Think about it. Without the giver or the receiver, we don't have a real estate industry, let alone an exam. But if you gain a strong understanding of this core principle, then you will definitely pass the exam. But what is this OREE rule? How does it work? Is it easy to learn? Let's break it down. What is the OREE rule? The OREE rule is a simple memory trick that will help you understand who is giving and who is receiving in a real estate transaction. The OR is the suffix of the giver, meaning that every term that denotes the giver, seller, or conveyor in a transaction will always end with OR. For example, lessor, grantor, and vendor. EE, on the other hand, can be found at the end of the term that refers to the receiver, acquirer, or purchaser. For example, leasee, grantee, and vendee. Consider this question. In a real estate transaction, John is transferring ownership of his property to Sarah. Which of the following correctly describes their roles? John is the grantee and Sarah is the grantor. John is the lessor and Sarah is the lessee. John is the grantor and Sarah is the grantee. Or John is the buyer and Sarah is the seller. We know that John is a giver because he is transferring the property, which makes him the grantor. And since Sarah is receiving the property, she is the grantee. The correct answer is C. And just like that, the question is answered. The exception to the rule. As it is with most laws, there is an exception to the OREE rule. And no, it is not what you think. Contrary to the common mortgagee and mortgager debate, which I can tell you is not an exception here, there's one word that bends the rules a little: the beneficiary. A beneficiary is the person who benefits from a trust. This individual receives from a giver like a settler, and while on the receiving end, it doesn't end with EE, as most receivers in real estate transactions. Words to remember. From grantor to guarantor, and from lessee to vendee, there are over 30 words in real estate to describe transactional relationships. But you do not need to keep a mental list of 30. As long as you remember that the giver ends in OR and the receivee ends in EE, with the exception of the word beneficiary, you're good to go for the exam. Practice questions. Now let's put this knowledge to the test, literally. Question number 1. A company is giving Mark the right to buy their property within the next year. What are the correct terms for the company and Mark in this situation? The company is the optionee and Mark is the optioner. Both the company and Mark are optioners. The company is the optioner and Mark is the optionee. The terms optioner and optionee don't apply in this case. The correct answer is C. The company is giving Mark the option to buy their property, so they are the optioner. If the company is the giver, then we know that Mark is a receiver, which makes him the optionee. Question number 2. Tom is lending money to Susan for her to buy a house. In this mortgage transaction, what are their correct roles? Tom is the mortgager and Susan is the mortgagee. Tom is the mortgagee and Susan is the mortgager. Both Tom and Susan are mortgagers, or the terms mortgager and mortgagee do not apply here. The correct answer is B. Susan may be receiving the money from Tom, but she is the one who has to give Tom the promise or pledge to repay the loan. So in this transaction, she is the giver, making her the mortgager. Tom, on the other hand, receives a pledge from Susan, which makes him the mortgagee. Question number 3. John is selling his house to Sarah, who is getting a loan from First Bank to make the purchase. Which of the following correctly describes their roles? John is the grantee, Sarah is the grantor, First Bank is the mortgager. John is the grantee, Sarah is the grantor and mortgagee. First bank is the mortgager, John is the grantor, Sarah is the grantee and mortgagee. First bank is the mortgager, John is the grantor, Sarah is the grantee and mortgager. First bank is the mortgagee. And the correct answer is D. There are two transactions taking place in this question. First, we have John giving Sarah the right to buy his house. In this transaction, we have John as the grantor and Sarah as the grantee. Now, Sarah is giving a pledge to First Bank to repay the loan, which now turns her into the mortgager. And First Bank, which is receiving the pledge, is the mortgagee. Just like that, the OREE rule laid bare. Now you have the hack to conquer real estate transactions on the exam and beyond. Please like and subscribe for more exam crushing strategies. Have a question or want to share your OREE rule success story? The comment section is all yours. Until next time, please keep practicing, stay confident, and go ace that exam. The OREE rule has got your back.